Have you ever felt someone thinking about you without a text, without a call, without a word, but you knew? That's not coincidence. That's not fantasy. That's the silent echo of energy and the reason they can't forget you. There is something deeper than memory, deeper than logic, something that lingers in the unseen long after words are spoken and paths are divided. It's the energy you left behind, not the conversation, not the message, but the feeling. People may walk away, but they cannot escape the vibration you imprinted upon their soul. That's the echo, and it lives in the invisible chambers of their mind. You are not forgotten, you are felt. Every thought you projected, every emotion you lived in their presence, it all left an imprint. And if you ever stood in their light with sincerity, passion, or even quiet intensity, it left a residue, a spiritual fingerprint. Long after your name stops being spoken, your essence continues to whisper. The reason they keep thinking about you isn't because of what you did. It's because of who you were when no one was watching. You see, thoughts are not bound to time. Feelings are not bound to space. The moment you deeply connect with someone, you're no longer just a body in a room. You become a frequency in their field. That frequency cannot be deleted like a contact. It hums in the background of their inner world. And when you withdraw your attention, when your presence goes silent, that frequency becomes louder, because what is absent becomes sacred, and what is sacred begins to stir questions. They wonder why you're not chasing, why they still feel something when there's nothing being said. It's because your inner echo is louder than their distractions. They didn't just meet you, they absorbed you. Thoughts are not random. They are answers to energy. So when you once imagined them with love, when you once saw beauty in them, even they couldn't see, that energy remains. People remember those who saw their light. And when you go quiet, they don't remember your silence, they remember your presence. And presence echoes in ways words never can. Your absence is not a disappearance. It's a vibration that lingers like perfume in a room long after you've gone. And every time they remember you, they're not really remembering, you're resonating. That's the truth. When your energy is pure and powerful, it doesn't chase, it echoes. It speaks when you're silent. It shows up in their dreams, their thoughts, their random memories when they least expect it. They may have left, they may pretend not to care, they may even be with someone else. But your vibration is not competing. It simply is. It lives in the cracks of their consciousness, in the pauses of their day. And they can feel it even when they can't explain it. So don't be surprised if they come back. Don't be shocked if they reach out of nowhere. Don't question why their name pops up after months of silence. It's not always because of them. It's because your inner echo never left. It called to them when you weren't trying. It reminded them of what can't be replaced. Because energy doesn't beg, it remembers. It replays. And most importantly, your echo speaks the loudest when your soul is aligned. When you stop needing, start becoming, and live from wholeness, that's when your energy becomes undeniable. That's when the world starts to feel you again. Not because you're louder, but because you're clearer, and clarity cuts through noise. So if they're thinking of you, don't chase, don't doubt. Just know your inner echo is doing the work your words never needed to do. You were heard, you are felt, and the universe is still speaking in the silence you left behind. People rarely recall the exact words you said. What they carry is the way you made them feel when no one else was looking. Your presence imprinted a unique rhythm in their spirit. Long after the moments pass, that feeling remains, playing on loop in quiet intervals. You weren't just a person, they felt something rise within themselves because of you. That feeling of being seen, understood, or elevated, that's the imprint they can't shake. It wasn't your logic that stayed with them. It was your light. That subtle warmth in your voice, the power in your stillness, The way you listened like their soul mattered, that's what echoes. Even now, they may not know what they miss, but something inside whispers your essence. You didn't perform, you were real. And real leaves residue, not on their mind, but on their inner world. You didn't just meet them, you changed their atmosphere. And that change is something they revisit, even if they never say it out loud. The heart remembers what the ears quickly forget, and your energy was never forgettable. When you walk away, your physical form may vanish, but your energy doesn't obey the same rules. It lingers like the sun's warmth long after it sets. That frequency you operated from, whether it was love, care, inspiration, or passion, sinks into their field. You didn't need to announce it, you became it. And becoming something energetically is far more lasting than trying to convince someone of your worth. The energy you projected, especially when it was pure, finds its way back into their awareness. Not through messages or reminders, but through sudden waves of memory. They'll hear your laugh in a silent room, feel your calm during a storm, sense your strength when they're weak. That's not a memory, that's the echo of your vibration. And energy, when powerful and honest, doesn't just pass through people, it anchors in them. They didn't just witness you, they were marked by your presence. And some part of them always knows. When you stop reaching out, you might think your presence fades, but it does the opposite. Your silence becomes a mirror. It reflects the emotional space you once filled. It gives them space to realize what was never spoken but always felt. Silence is not emptiness when your energy was real. In fact, it amplifies everything you used to be in their life. The mind searches for what is no longer available, and in that space your echo grows louder. It rises in their thoughts when they least expect it. You are felt in the spaces between their distractions, not because you're haunting them, but because you were never background noise. You were a signal. Now that signal has gone quiet, and its absence is deafening. This is the paradox. They feel you more now that you're not trying. Your stillness becomes magnetic. It doesn't demand, it draws. You become a pulse in their silence, a memory wrapped in meaning. And your silence, now sacred, speaks louder than any words ever could. There's something deeper than memory, a spiritual residue that forms when two people connect. When you meet someone with pure intention, your energies intertwine, not just in the physical sense, but in the emotional blueprint of their life. You become part of their story in ways they may not even realize. Even if they try to forget, they can't delete energy. Words fade, faces blur, but that emotional imprint, it stays. It exists in the rhythm of their breath when they think of you. It shows up in songs, in colors, in strange dreams. You don't have to be there to still be there. When the connection was real, it stretched beyond the moment. It planted itself inside them, not as possession, but as residence. They may fill their life with noise, but your frequency cuts through. That's what connection does. It refuses to be erased. It whispers even when uninvited. It lingers like a chapter left unread. You're not just someone they met. You became a silent part of who they are becoming. Pulling your attention away from someone doesn't silence your presence, it amplifies it. When you're no longer there physically or emotionally, something interesting happens. Your energy creates contrast. Where your presence once brought calm or meaning, the absence creates a void, and the mind naturally reaches toward what once filled it. But more than that, the energy you held while connected starts to echo louder. They feel your withdrawal, not as loss, but as resonance, a space filled with your signature. They don't miss your words, they feel the difference in their own energy. And in that contrast, your value rises, not because they understand it fully, but because they can't stop feeling it. You become something they return to without trying. Their mind replays what their spirit can't silence. That's what true presence does. It leaves behind an afterglow. It's not about being loud, it's about being unforgettable in your stillness. That stillness now speaks to them more than your presence ever could. Every thought you ever sent to someone with genuine emotion was received, whether spoken aloud or silently imagined. Your focused attention became energy, and energy always travels. Every time you thought of them with love, hope, or care, you embedded that frequency into their memory field. You didn't need them to hear it for it to be heard. You didn't need them to understand for it to be received. Your emotional energy became part of their internal archive. Even now, when their heart opens even slightly, those stored vibrations rise. You live in the soft places they rarely visit. In their stillness, they meet pieces of you they forgot existed, because your thoughts were never weak. They were alive, intentional, and deeply rooted. And those thoughts continue to influence how they feel about you, about themselves, about connection. You became part of their narrative. And whether they admit it or not, you show up when their soul is searching for something real. Real energy does not compete. It does not beg. It radiates. It pulses through time and space without losing intensity. The moment you become aligned within, your presence becomes magnetic, not because you chase, but because you are. You don't need to convince. You simply exist in truth, and truth, when embodied, cannot be ignored. You don't have to remind them of your worth. They feel it when life feels less vibrant without you. That's the power of unshakable energy. It's unspoken and undeniable. You were never just a moment. You were a shift in their perception. And now, in your silence, they realize how bright your presence really was. You've left echoes in places they never thought to search. And now that your energy is self-contained, it grows even louder. Not because you push, but because you reside. That kind of presence never fades, it just grows clearer as time passes. The echo they feel isn't a reaction to you. It's a reflection of the version of themselves they experienced around you. You saw their beauty before they did. You held space when they didn't believe they were worthy of it. That's why they keep returning, not always to you, but to how they felt when they were with you. You didn't give them your energy to win them. You simply became a mirror of their higher self. And now, when they're unsure or empty, they crave that reflection, not because you saved them, but because you reminded them of who they could be. That's the echo. That's the imprint. It's not about romance or attention. It's about identity. You reminded them of light. You were a spark in their darkness. And when the flame is gone, the warmth is missed. You didn't just touch their heart. You activated their soul. And that activation continues to vibrate long after the contact ends. You don't need a voice to be heard. You don't need a stage to be felt. When your energy is intentional and rooted in truth, it travels. It finds its way into rooms, into thoughts, into feelings. You become a living frequency. And frequencies don't die, they evolve. When your spirit is whole, your echo multiplies. It doesn't fade, it expands. You're not remembered because of what you did. You're remembered because of who you were in every quiet moment. That quiet strength becomes unforgettable. The way you didn't flinch. The way you loved without fear. The way you walked away with grace. All of that became an imprint. And now they feel you not because you're close, but because you're clear. Clarity of spirit always breaks through fog. You are the echo of alignment, and that echo keeps playing in hearts still searching for truth. You don't need to chase your energy, does the speaking. Your absence isn't emptiness. It's presence in a different form. When you're no longer physically around, your energy settles in like a whisper. And in silence, that whisper becomes deafening. You live in their pause, in their quiet moments, in the spaces where nothing else satisfies. That's what powerful energy does. It follows its own rhythm. And yours continues to dance in their awareness. They may not acknowledge it. They may distract themselves. But every time they slow down, you return. Not because you cling, but because your essence lingers. You were never noise, you were meaning, and meaning doesn't leave quietly. Trails of warmth, trails of presence, trails of thought that feel like home. You become more than a person, they've internalized your essence. And when you feel like you've been forgotten, remember you are now a part of their silence. They may have someone new, they may appear busy, they may seem unbothered, but energy doesn't compete with the visible. It lives beyond appearances. They don't miss you in the surface sense, they miss the feeling your presence gave them. They may try to fill that space, but your echo was crafted in authenticity, and authenticity doesn't fade with time. It intensifies in comparison. What they find now may not carry your frequency. It may feel hollow or forced. And that contrast calls you back to mind, not because of memory, but because of absence. You became something they can't replace, because what's real doesn't repeat, it resonates. And resonance is rare. So don't measure your value by their noise. Measure it by how deeply your stillness is felt. You didn't leave an image. You left an imprint. And imprints are permanent in the heart. When your spirit is aligned and your heart is whole, you no longer reach outward. You emanate. And that emanation becomes your message. Without a word, you send signals. Without effort, you draw attention. Because clarity is the most powerful frequency in the universe. And when you reach that space, people feel you without understanding why. Your presence becomes medicine to unsettled hearts. They don't remember everything you said, but they remember how peace entered the room with you. That peace is what they chase now. Even if they can't name it, that's the work your inner echo does. It heals, it reminds, it magnetizes, not because you want to be seen, but because you finally see yourself. And when you live from that space of wholeness, others feel the vibration and remember. You didn't become louder, you became realer. And reality, when it's pure, is unforgettable.